Hello, it's Denise, and I am back again with day 9. I had to think about that for the 31 Days of Tarot 2019 challenge. And today is about my top tarot goals for 2019. And so these are still kind of developing. I have been doing a lot of like journaling work and coming up with some hopefully some helpful like guidelines and stuff for myself, but I think that these will change. But as of right now, I think my top goals are one, I'm going to pick one deck and do an in-depth dive into it every month. So not that I won't use other decks, but like for my daily draw and for readings, for myself and that kind of thing. I'm going to use one deck. And if I feel called, to pull a different deck for certain things, like that's not a big deal, but just I really want to, like for instance, I've mentioned this, I probably talk about this deck all the time, but the Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea is my January deck, and I'm in love with it. But it has, like there's 3 fiction books that kind of go with it, and there's a guidebook, and so, I don't know that I will actually finish all of that, but I'm really working with that deck and working through those books in January, so I could just to get a really good feel for that deck. I wanted to kind of assign my decks a month in advance, but then I thought, well, some decks might actually require more than 1 month, so the idea is to do one deck per month, but I'm just gonna kind of play it by ear a little bit and see how that goes. So far it's been working really well, really well. So I'm excited about really getting to know my decks. So that would be like my overarching goal, is really getting to know my tarot decks that I own a little bit better, instead of just working with each one like a little bit and not working with them more in depth. So first goal, get to know my tarot decks better. My second goal is so I'd like to try to read one tarot book a month. Not like the heavy duty big ones, because those are going to take more time, but I have a few that are like a little more light reading. Just, some, not necessarily working through all the exercises, but just kind of get an overview of the book, because I feel like what happens to me a lot is I will take like a book and I will start it, and then it will have an exercise, and I will be like, oh, well, I can't read anymore until I've done this exercise. And I think then I don't get the gist of the book, and so I'm not as motivated to continue. So some books that maybe have a few exercises here and there, I just like to kind of read through them and then go back through and do the exercises, if that makes sense. But just so I'm not like stopping like every the first like 50 pages or so when I need to go actually journal or do whatever, because I have that's a whole nother thing. I'm trying to actually work through. I have several books that are very, very hands-on, very work oriented. They have a lot of exercises, and I'm trying to work through several of those, which kind of leads me to my last 2 kind of general goals that I have for 2019. One is to work in my journal more often. I have a tarot journal. I've been really good lately about journaling just about every day. My goal in 2019 is to journal every day, even if it's just to write down my card of the day and like a couple thoughts on it. And I do that in my bullet journal, and so it's just like every day I pull a card, I just write the title of the card and a couple of thoughts about why it came into my life that day. And if that's all I get done, that's great. I'd like, obviously to have more time to do more readings and stuff, but like life, I don't always have the time. So that's another goal. And the last one is I have several books here that I think are going to take me a while to get through. And so these are books that are like kind of working through these books are some of my goals, because I think it's going to take a lot of, I don't want to say effort because that sounds like bad, but energy. It's going to take a lot of focused attention and energy. So these that's why I only have 3 right here. And I have so many books, but these are the three I really would like to get through. So one is tarot and astrology, which I have started numerous times and not really gotten through the very first part. So tarot and astrology, I would love to learn more about astrology and how that works with the tarot. That is in and of itself one of my goals, is to learn more about astrology and how it relates to the tarot, because I think that would give another like layer of flavor to my readings, you know, so I thought that would be fun. And then of course I have Holistic Tarot. Oh, I should mention probably Tarot and Astrology is by Corinne Kenner, but I'm sure a lot of people are already familiar with these books, but this one's Holistic Tarot by Benabel Wynn, and this is a huge book. And even though I've heard so many good things about it, I've just been, I think, like intimidated by, I just feel like it's a big project to take on, so I've been kind of reluctant to start, even though it looks amazing. Like I've read like little excerpts here and there while I've flipped through it, but yeah, that's one of my goals, is to actually read the entire book. I think I can do it this year. All right, and then the last one I would like to look through. I know almost nothing about this book. I found it on Amazon and it just looked really intriguing, and I don't have it with me, but I actually have the tarot deck, which is the Brotherhood of Light tarot, I want to say. I wish I would have brought that with me, but so this is called the Sacred Tarot, by the Brotherhood, published by the Brotherhood of Light, written by C.C. Zane. It popped up on my Amazon suggestions, and it just looked so fascinating. It was originally written, I believe, in the 1920s. Yes. And then I think it was individual chapters originally copyrighted in 1921 and 1926. And so then the Church of Light, I think, has, put it together in a book and published it. And then just recently, I don't know, redid it. Anyway, this is copyright 2005 by the Church of Light. So I don't really know the backstory. I don't really know the history. I really know nothing about this book. But it's just, okay, it's kind of a thick book. I love like the whole look of it. It just looks like, it looks fancy. And some of the chapters are the doctrine of Kabbalism, a foundation of the science, scope and use of tarot, involution and evolution of numbers, the color of a name, chronology of the tarot. So it just sounds really like fascinating, but I don't know if it's something that I could get into. I do not know. But I really want to try to read it. So it's intriguing to me. So it's a project of mine for 2019. So that is kind of my loose tarot goals, I guess you could say, kind of very, very general right now. I'd like to hear what everybody else, I can't wait to see what else's videos and kind of see what other people's goals are, because I feel like mine need to be like more developed, but that's where I am right now. So I hope everybody else is having a great January. I love watching everyone's videos, and I will see you later. Bye.